Town of Prescott Valley Special Town Council meeting, November 28th, 2022. Call to order. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Kinzinger.
Present.
Councilmember Dickinson.
Here.
Councilmember Hepperly.
Here.
Councilmember Schumacher.
Present.
Councilmember Packard.
Present.
Vice Mayor Hunt.
Here.
Mayor Palguda.
Present.
We have a quorum.
Thank you, ma'am. Item 2A, classification and compensation study agreement. Ma'am, welcome.
Good afternoon, Mayor and members of the Town Council, as well as Town Executive Leadership. We want to thank you in advance for the opportunity to do the classification and compensation study. This is an opportunity for the town
Harry.
to engage in the first ever, as people have explained to me, comprehensive classification and compensation study. We've done it historically as needed, but to engage in this in a comprehensive fashion takes the involvement of every employee, every department, and every leader. So our early thanks are to our partners in finance and also the legal department, because we would not be bringing you the brief slides today if they had not assisted us thus far. So we're excited about that. We will be working, hopefully, with the McGrath Human Resources Consulting Company. They have about 22 years of continuous service working in this area of the human resources field. They've worked all over the U.S. with organizations, city and town governments of all sizes. So we're very excited about the idea that their comprehensive background is going to help us not only look at individual job titles, but the scope of work in every job description, and also then to look where we are competitively in terms of compensation systems and benefits packages. So that total compensation or total reward piece becomes very, very critical for not only our current workforce, but where we go in the future in terms of talent acquisition and retention. Now, what I'd like to show you just briefly this afternoon, and let's see if we can get this going the right way. We have 6 bullet points where we've captured for you the essence of what happens. We have currently 118 job titles, and that means they're distributed across 35 separate classifications. That covers the work of 291 full-time equivalency employees. So while that sounds a bit hard to navigate, what this study will help us do is not only review every job description for the scope of work with the involvement of every employee giving their input and ideas, as well as, again, the leaders that are in various departments and divisions, but we will create classifications going forward that hopefully will improve not only our high-performing team methodology, but also look at the efficiencies and effectiveness for every team member in every assignment that is serving the town of Prescott Valley. That is not an easy task to do, but you start with the data research. We then simultaneously will be working with the vendor contractor to pull comparative market value compensation. We will also look at how groups are teamed together. We will look at opportunities for career advancement. We will look at equity across the organization as a whole. Now, as you see in the bullet points, we've captured for you a couple of things also that are driving the marketplace right now. And that is the push for enhanced flexible scheduling, the opportunity to redesign sometimes workflow, work processes, and then the bullet point, third from the bottom there, the organization value of all positions. And that really is the messaging that we use Anytime we're marketing, we're doing outreach, we're attempting to draw members to the workforce for hopefully their lifetime to serve the township. So again, our best effort, what we're intending to do in terms of time frame, is to launch in early December. We will then do tutorial and educational opportunities, work with employee groups, focus groups, teach them how to do position description questionnaires. Those are fillable forms online where they will tell us about the scope of work that they're doing. Then we'll work with the vendor contractor to sort through all of that. We'll gather the market data, and then we will begin to form the final draft report. And eventually, you will have a presentation from the vendor provider along with myself, where we'll bring all of the details to you for consideration. And that hopefully will assist us in long-term planning, not only for what we want to do this next fiscal year, but also the goal with this is that we can build on this information so that our HR team, our finance partners, et cetera, we're able, through the partnership with McGrath initially, to use the tools that they have, the platform, the software tools, to continue to build the data as we go forward. So it's a real-time, in this time frame activity, but it's also, we hope, a lifetime commitment that will help the town, again, gather the very best talent that's out there. Again, we hope to launch in early December. This will be a project throughout the spring of 2023. We're optimistic that we can get to final reporting, final draft reporting, right around the end of June. That's our best intention as we're going forward. And again, what we've collected for you just in the brief slides is the idea that this is about building high-performing teams, but also it's about designing the climate and culture of the organization in totality. And one of the key ways that you do that is through fully transparent conversations about work assignments, expectations, what we believe our employees can do, and what we hope they will do in the future. Are there any questions? Anything I can answer for you?
Vice Mayor?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Terry. So just a couple clarifications. There's changing times in the workforce. After COVID, more people, like you said, flexible schedules, working at home, different locations. So I think this is really important. And this comprehensive process is so needed. In the days past, you'd have an HR clerk call around to other cities and get their comp and class, and there was no checks and balances really, and you just went from there. And we're of a size workforce in town that we need so much more. And so this is important, like you said, for longevity, fairness, hope, and then the value to build our team. A couple questions. So you're going to have this done in time for the budget?
It will likely
Draft form.
be that we will have early information that would help us understand potential impact on the budget. It would be very optimistic to think we would have it in time for final budget determination for fiscal year 23-24. But this particular group works very, very diligently. We will also be assisting our entire HR team. But I think it would be overstating to say that we will know everything in terms of final budget impact. And basically because we're collecting information from 291 people and then sorting that.
So then that leads me to my next question. It looked like we budgeted $100,000 and we're only going to use about half of it. And it sounds like because you're going to do a lot more in-house of the work. Is that correct?
We're going to partner, and I would guess the percentage will be around 60-40. In other words, they will be doing budget surveying. They will be gathering the data from the marketplace. we will be partnering with every single employee that needs help on filling out that fillable PDQ, department heads as they want to have focus groups with employees. This is a time often where employee teams will begin to offer ideas about efficiencies, consolidation of scope of work, reduction or elimination of redundant work steps that might be in place. And so until we get into that, the involvement of our HR team, we stand ready to help in every
Good.
way.
Thank you. Kudos to you for saving half of the budget.
Yeah.
And it's really important to have the right job descriptions too when we go out.
Right.
So that everybody has a fair understanding of what they're doing. And my last question is the shelf life of this document. What is it?
Ideally, what we will do with this will set us on the path that we need, again, probably around July 1, 23, but on into 24. Then ideally, what we will do as an HR team is we will look out 18 to 24 months, we will set a schedule, and we will have a rotational schedule where using the platform and the software, we will be able, with our internal team, to revisit on a regular scheduled basis updates. So whether it's utilities, whether it's fleet, whether it's HR, whether it's Parks and Rec, we will have a rotational schedule in place, and that remains, and typically every 24 months, you revisit high turnover, high transition, and/or valuable change agent types of things that are happening in the workforce. And we can do that internally, but maybe call upon McGrath on a very limited basis for special research that might have to be done.
Yeah, and changes in the market. So this is money well spent.
Yes.
Not only for liability purposes, but also because our employees are so valuable.
Absolutely.
So thank you very much for what you're doing.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Hepperly?
So this process relies heavily on input from existing employees, is that correct?
Yes, it does.
Is it, I hate to use this terminology, but are there features in place to make it safe for them to provide that input, whether anonymously or
Yes.
maybe just to the contractor, not to someone in-house?
Yes, and that is the value of a third party in doing this. Any third party that is doing this type of work has a platform, either customized or some of our general HRIS platforms. The data goes into those platforms. So when we're helping to educate how to do a position description questionnaire, we'll be using HR samples so that someone from another department does not feel that they cannot offer confidentially their information. And then that raw data is pulled together and then will come back to us and sample job descriptions. Your vendor actually does the authoring, and then supervisory and leadership members look at draft job descriptions. So the partnering is very, very ethically driven in this kind of study, and that's very key.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Councilwoman?
Thank you, Terry, for this presentation. I can see the benefit in it and the future enlightenment for those who apply for a position. They know exactly what is needed, whether they qualify, what goals they need to put into their own anticipated life goals. And my concern is for those who are, as indicated by questions from Councilman Hepperly, I can sense possibly anxiety among those that would be questioned, and job security. You know, I know for myself, if I were put in that position, I would wonder, well, am I going to be here after this is done?
Yes. Yes, and that's understandable. Certainly, organizations in previous economic times, there have been circumstances where organizations other than Town of Prescott Valley, but in Arizona, have made determinations that there needs to either be position consolidation, changing of reporting authority, and yes, change is possible. But our anticipation with this is it supports the growth and the talent acquisition so that we get the highest performing candidates in every recruitment process. So we appreciate exactly what you're saying, and we have an announcement ready to go that will be available to employees individually, focus groups, small groups, departments, et cetera, so we can talk through all of these kinds of concerns. And absolutely, if an employee said, I just am not comfortable, I'm not comfortable doing this, then I will turn around and suggest, could you give your feedback to a colleague that's in the same title that you're in? And then your colleague can communicate that. So there will be alternatives so that, again, every opportunity will be available.
Thank you.
Yeah.
With that being said, I'll entertain a motion. Councilwoman Dickinson?
Mr. Mayor, I motion to approve an agreement with McGrath Human Resources Group Consultant to conduct a compensation and salary study for the town of Prescott Valley in the amount of $51,925 by electronic vote.
Vice Mayor?
Second.
Clerk, please call the vote.
Councilmember Dickinson?
I've pushed it like 6 times. Yes.
That passes, Mayor.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 2B, official canvass, town general election, November 8th, 2022. Clerk, welcome. I say welcome like you're not always here, so.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Vice Mayor, council members. So today, I will be presenting the general election results, something that we have to do every single election. And my presentation will be similar to the presentation we did back in August, but better because I'm presenting it. So for those of you watching at home, why did we have an election? Well, we had a question on the ballot to adopt our general plan 2035. Every municipality, every community in the state is required to have a general plan, and it needs to go on the ballot for voters to adopt the plan. This is done every 10 years. And, you know, general plans provide guidelines and direction for the community. So we just, as you can see, adopted ours with 58% or 58.79%. So it passed. I do want to go over a couple statistics because I want to be able to compare what happened back in 2013 when we had another general plan, so that way we're comparing apples to apples. From this chart here, you could probably see that our population grew by 10,000 people more. That is not how I see it. Based on our census results, I feel like now in 2022, more people are of age and they're now able to register to vote, not necessarily that we grew 10,000 people. So just how you want to look at it. And this election, we have 30,939 registered voters. Out of those 30,000 people, only 22,479 decided to exercise the right to vote. So they cast the ballot. Out of those 22, 11,358 said yes, and 7,962 people said no. Surprisingly, 3,150 people did not answer that question. I guess that's just preference. I don't have an answer for you as to why people don't, you know. I got a phone call from a lady saying that she was not going to fill in the bubble if she did not understand the question. Compared to 2013, 792 people answered no, which is about the same percentage of those people that didn't fill in the bubble. And rejected ballots, surprisingly, this election we had 622. That's a very high number. But ballots that are rejected for several reasons. It could be people not signing their envelope, people not putting in their ballot on the envelope, believe it or not. It could be signatures not matching, or they did not register on time. So those are some of the reasons why ballots are rejected. Overall, the participation rate ended up being at 72.64%, which is super high. I guess historical maybe for our municipality. From the past elections that I've seen, it's always ranged between like 30% to 50%. So that's pretty cool. On that note, for participation rates, I wanted to compare our participation rates from the primary to the general election. This is stuff I care about because we pay for every registered voter, not for every participant in the election. So back in the primary election, our participation rate was 51% with those 30,000 registered voters. Well, between August 3rd, after our election, to October 11, which was the end of early voting, the last day to register to vote, October 11, 890 people registered within just that time frame, which is pretty awesome. So we ended up, for this election, ended up being at 72.64%. And it's a good turnout for participation rates. So at this time, if you have any questions, please let me know, or I can have you do your thing with the motion so that you can officially adopt the results.
I just have a couple of comments. I think comparing the 2013 to the 2022, I think back in 2013, I think we voted in March also.
It did.
And I
It
think that
happened in
makes
March.
a difference when there's not state issues going on, and that might have something to do with the low participation rate. I can't be for sure, though, but I think that's what we did.
Yeah, I don't know, because the entire state was at that same schedule, having elections every
Well, then
quarter.
disregard that then, but I just know March was historically when we would have a lower turnout,
Right.
so. And then in regards to those that voted for and voted against, I think there are a lot of people out there who also didn't answer because if they weren't familiar with whatever it was, they just chose to just let it be. And I also think that maybe perhaps some people may have seen it as a change in direction of what Prescott Valley is doing, and people might think, oh, I like how Prescott Valley is, and I don't want to see it change. And they might have tended to go more towards a no vote on that. It's just my personal thought on that.
Another important thing or fact that I found, out of those 30,939 registered voters, only 22 decided to exercise their right to vote. That leaves 8,464 people out there that didn't even participate
Oh, at all.
at all. 8,000 people is a lot.
Correct. So, but overall, we're going in a good direction. The residents recognize that, and it's a good sign. So thank you for your work on that. Vice
Mr. Mayor, Fatima, thank you so much for this. It's a very clear picture. So I got several phone calls or emails because I wrote the ballot pro, and I am so happy this passed. It's so important for our community. There's some big changes that happened in this general plan that are going to be so important for our future. And with regard to the budget, it looks like we budgeted 204,000 and only used about 70.
We paid for the primary, and now we're going to pay for the general. So we were total maybe about 112,000,
So we have a big savings.
right?
Great,
Yeah.
good job.
Thanks.
Councilwoman?
I just wanted to point out that even if all 3,000 and change of those non-answers had voted no, this still would have passed by about 200 votes.
Still would have passed,
So
I know.
that's a pretty handy win there.
Anything else? If not, I'll entertain a motion. Councilwoman?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to authorize the mayor, or in his absence, the vice mayor, to sign resolution number 2022 to 2286, officially canvassing the Prescott Valley general election held November 8th, 2022 by electronic vote.
I second it.
Clerk, please call the vote.
That passes, Mayor.
Thank you, ma'am. Now up to item 2C, one that I am not looking forward to, but this will be the official acceptance of Councilmember Roger Kinzinger's resignation from the Prescott Valley Town Council. So clerk, would you please?
So I did not have an official PowerPoint for this, but the acceptance of the resignation is required by law to make it official. Otherwise, you can't leave. I'm just kidding.
Call the wife, you're sticking around.
So at this point, I will hand it off to you.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Thank you, clerk. Roger, if you'd like, we can go down there. We can talk. I think we should go down there. Make it a little bit better. As I mentioned, it's bittersweet. For those of you that know Councilman Kinzinger, not only what he's done for the council, but as he is as a human being. He truly is. You are probably one of the most sincere, nicest people I've ever met in my entire life. And I'm going to miss you. I'm going to miss you calling for adjournment. I'm going to miss you. Just what you bring to the council in your 2 short years, Roger. You've done an amazing job, and I cannot thank you enough on behalf of Prescott Valley and the town of Prescott Valley. And I'm going to turn it over to the council members now and let them say a few nice words if they can think of any.
If any, right?
If they can think of any, and we'll go from there. So, Councilman Dickinson.
Well, Roger, I have to say my heart is broken. I feel 2 years ago, I didn't know who you were, had no idea. And over the last 2 years, you and Judy have become very close friends of me and my mother both. And we're just, it's very difficult to say what we've been going through. Our emotions have been up and down all week long thinking about it. And like you said in the article, and like the mayor has said, it's bittersweet for you. I know that you're going to be with your family, and it's being with family is so precious, and especially when we get into our older years. And but at the same time, your family here is going to miss you tremendously, and it's just going to be a huge loss for us and for the community as well.
Roger, I still tell people about how you came to the campaign as not even a relatively unknown, a 100% unknown.
Right.
And knocked on every door in Prescott Valley and introduced yourself and talked to so many people face to face, which is your strength. And I know that's how you won. Like, it was, because it was we campaigned against a lot of people, and you have to really want it to put in that kind of commitment and work. And so I've always just been so proud of you and so impressed. And yeah, you were such a great part of Prescott Valley, even for the short time that you were here. And we appreciate you, and I wish you the best going forward.
Roger, thank you. I echo what Councilwoman Hepperly said. It was so impressive that you knocked on doors. And when you knocked on mine and we weren't home yet, and my dad was there, and he got a little shaky and you had to save him back into his recliner, I am forever in your debt for that. And I love Judy. She is just a ray of sunshine when you look at her, and so kind. And I'm envious that you're going to be close to your grandkids, because ours are in California. And I'm very proud of you for prioritizing family. I think that's so important. So kudos to you. Come back and visit. If we're in the area, we'll stop by. If you need a reference for town council there, how big is that town?
Not as large as Prescott Valley, so I can't tell you. I don't know.
Okay.
Roger, I remember when you came to my house, you was in a golf cart.
Yep.
And you started talking about how you wanted to put signs out. And the more you talked, the more I thought, I'm going to let this guy put a sign in my yard, which I did. And you've done just a super job. You really have done a super job. And you and Judy, I hope the best for all of you. But Iowa, come on, Roger, it's cold. Anyway, nice knowing you. Hope it, keep in touch, really. Okay.
And again, we all wish you the best. And going forward, you just know you can always turn around and come back, right? And not just to visit. If it doesn't work out, come home. And I know that everybody at CASA is going to miss you, and the VFW and all the things that you've been involved in. So thank you for all your hard work. And maybe now it is time to kind of take that break and the rest. And we know that you'll probably be involved in everything that you get into when you get to the new location as well. So thank you so much for what you've done. It's been fun sharing a seatmate with you and goofing around when we can. People don't know that yet, right? But we did get to know you when we were at the League of City and Towns, and Judy is an amazing spouse for you, and you guys are wonderful to be around. So they're blessed to have you. So just remember, take all your goodwill and have fun and enjoy the journey.
Thank you.
I want to make sure that you understand that they're not exaggerating when, like, you literally drove your golf cart around and checked on all the houses. You went to my house when I was in Unit 20. You went to Quailwood. You went to Stone Ridge. I mean, you were everywhere, Roger, and that just says a lot about you and
The golf cart and the dog.
the golf cart and your dog. Yeah, you're not wrong. So one of the hardest working men when it came to campaigning, absolutely. So
Thank you.
Take it away.
As everybody has said today, this is probably one of my worst bittersweet moments in my life. We always have some in our life, but 6 years ago, this is going to blow your mind as much as it blows mine. I left Iowa December 9th. I'm sorry. I left Iowa and closed at my house here in Prescott Valley December 9th, 2016. 6 years later, I believe in my house December 9th, 2022. Now, what's the chance of that? Slim and none, but it is what it is. I have met a lot of neat people throughout my 6 years here. As April said, May of 2000, what would that have been? April 2020? 2020. I was basically an unknown in Prescott Valley. The only people that knew me was the people who lived in Pronghorn Ranch where I live. And April got approached, I got approached about running, and I said, I don't really want to run. I'll give you suggestions, but I don't want to run. One of my friends says, I'll run if you run. Oh, shucks. Now I said, okay. So then we decided to do that. Then he had to disqualify himself. He voluntarily disqualified himself because he didn't have the 12 months of residency. So now he pulls out, I'm committed to running. So that kind of boomeranged on me, but at that point on, I started door knocking, and I sold insurance for 39 years, so door knocking was not a big thing to me, and selling myself was a lot easier than selling insurance. And so I had a lot of fun. Then I decided to take my little pooch with me, my dog. So she rode with me. So on the golf cart, I had her on the leash. She sat there in the seat. As I'd go up, door knock on the doors, people would come up, would look out. I'd be talking to them. Then all of a sudden, they see the dog. They want to start talking about the dog. But we built relationships, and that is the key word: is relationship selling, relationship building. Let people know that you are concerned about Prescott Valley and the growth that it's going to, and the way it's going. I have met, like I said, so many neat people out in the community, and I am going to miss that. But I am going to miss the people on the dais. I've grown to learn a lot of people here, And then we got the town people over here. And I've got very good friends with the town people and the ones that aren't here today. And I am going to miss that. But it is a bittersweet moment. But I know you guys are heading in the right direction. And that is a good relief for me. We got new people coming on the council. We got one Michael coming on here shortly. And then the council will have to choose a next replacement. But what you could do, you could bounce it off. After you get it decided who you want, you could call me and we could Fatima could do a call and get me on a conference call, but at that point, I have no authority at that point. But you guys will do a good job without me, and I appreciate it. The one thing, I don't know, Cal, you and I have to talk about who's going to assume the duties of the adjournment once I left. I don't know how many people have noticed it, but I have been the king. And I mean the king of the adjournment. I've done that for quite a while here. So that will be passed on to somebody. Maybe you'll spread it around, but Kel and I that's one of the things. He just looks at me and I'm waiting for one more motion. And that's when I would chirp up and say, let's make the motion. So I will make the one last motion today. That'll be there. So again, I will miss everybody here. We are going back for family issues and family health issues. We'll be closer to our daughter, which is going to be very important. We also have a son back there, and my mother, can't miss her. She's 96 and a half, so I'll be about 45 minutes from her. So I will be closer for family, closer for her, closer for our daughter. So I appreciate it again, everybody's help that I've throughout the years. Leah is going to miss me. She always sees that 515 phone number call up. She knows who I am. And then she'll say to me, what do you want today? Whatever the case may be. But we have a lot of fun. So again, thank you again for giving me the opportunity to spend the last 2 years with you folks. I've really enjoyed it, and I'm going to miss you all.
With that being said, Councilwoman Dickinson?
Mr. Mayor and Council, I make a motion to accept Roger Kinsinger's resignation as tendered by electronic vote.
A regrettable second.
Thank you. Do I say
I'm sure you just abstained. Legal, does he just abstain from this?
I'm going to say yes. We'll see. It'll be unanimous.
That passes, Mayor.
Thank you, ma'am. Now, item 2D, council vacancy appointment process. Ms. Fernandez.
I'm back. All right, so Councilmember Kinsinger, it's been a pleasure working with you. We're going to miss you. So unfortunately, now we have to talk about that appointment process and what we're going to do. Now that the resignation's been adopted, we need to fill in that vacant spot. So here's my suggested process. At any point, feel free to, yes.
Caitlin, can you take that off the screen so we can see the staff report, please?
Oh.
The last voting thing is
She
on.
wants it off of this.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Disregard.
We're good. So at any point, feel free to add, change, move, suggest any steps that you deem appropriate for this process. Here's my suggestion to you. So our town code and ARS say that we can appoint someone. We do not have to have an election because the timing of it does not allow for an election. So now that we know that we're able to appoint someone, it doesn't tell us how to do it. It just says, go ahead and do it. So I came up with 4 easy steps to handle this process. Pretty much step 1 would be to start advertising the position, the vacancy. So after today, or after you vote on it, we can immediately start advertising everywhere on social media, in the newspaper, on our website, everywhere that, we can think of, to make the applications due by Friday, December 16, no later than 3 p.m. Step number 2, as suggested, would be to have one special meeting where all of the applications will be reviewed during an e-session. I do not know how many applications we're going to get, but this will be your opportunity to review and discuss all of the applications during an executive session. And coming out of executive session, you can motion to select your top 3 choices. I'm proposing that this meeting take place Monday, December 19 in the morning, if you're available. And invite the candidates of your choice to an interview the following day on December 20th around 3 p.m. So in this special meeting 2, you would interview those 3 top candidates during an open session for the public to see, and then you would recess into an e-session for discussion. You will come out of executive session where you would make a motion to appoint somebody, either via regular vote or a straw vote. Lastly, step 4 would be the oath of office of the new appointed council member. That oath of office could take place Thursday, January 12th, or it could be even earlier during our work study on January 5th. And it also doesn't have to be in a special meeting. The council member appointed just needs to take an oath of office in public. So for those of you that are visual, here's what the calendar in December would look like. Today's the 28th. We accepted the resignation. If you approve the schedule, we can start advertising. As of today, I put tomorrow in case there's any changes. And then you see the publications in the newspaper, the Daily Courier, twice in the Tribune. Applications will be due again December 16, no later than 3 p.m. The first meeting or review of applications will be that Monday. Interviews will be on Tuesday, and then we could have somebody as early as January 12th seated. Here are some qualifications I wanted to go over for your reference. Any candidate needs to meet at least the top qualifications, so they must be 18 years old. A qualified or registered voter. This one's important. They must be a resident of Prescott Valley for at least 1 year prior to the appointment. And any person convicted of a felony must have their civil rights restored if applicable. Other considerations for you would be somebody that's committed to fulfill that 2-year term. They may run for office in 2024. Somebody available to attend all of the majority of town council meetings and special events as scheduled, and their ability to make informed decisions on behalf of the citizens. I wanted to show you the proposed application. All of the content in this application was reviewed by staff members, a team of staff members. So a lot of different set of eyes looked at this. We proposed asking 3 questions and a statement of interest and their background, almost like a regular application. This will be available online. It will also be available online. So when somebody logs in, they can just put in their info and then we will automatically receive it. Or they can come by my office and get a paper application if they really want to. Contact information for any candidate that may be interested in applying for this vacancy is on the application. They can email me or call me. My phone number is there. Any questions?
Fatima?
Yes.
Reference the okay, where is it? I'm sorry. Qualification of residents. Resident of Prescott Valley for at least 1 year prior to the appointment. I know that there have been a few questions brought up to me, whether this is the date that the application is due, or is this the actual date that you plan the oath of office?
It would be, I would say, the motion, the day the council member gets appointed. So that would be a year from Tuesday, December 20th.
Okay, so as long as they fulfill a year on the date, on December 20th? Okay.
By 3 p.m.
And you'd be surprised, there have been a few people that have asked that, because apparently in previous application time periods, they've run into this. And they, felt that they would have been here a year on the date of the oath of office. But they didn't fulfill the residency.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Councilwoman?
On December 20th, Vice Mayor Hunt and I have the radio at 4 o'clock, which is kind of a tough one to reschedule. Could we maybe do like 1, like we did today?
If we do at 1, we would have to call the Monday meeting around like 8 a.m. because we have to post the meeting notice 24 hours, at least 24 hours.
We'll go back. Can you go back to the calendar? I mean, we can always do it the 21st. It doesn't have to be the next day. If the 21st works, would that be fine?
Are you all good with the 21st?
21st is good, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, 10 a.m.?
Is everyone okay on the 21st?
21st at 3?
Sure.
21st at
You're gonna be
3.
here. Be in your pajamas.
You could do earlier.
Talking to me?
Oh, yeah, we could do the 21st at 10.
Whatever time works, because you will have over 24
We'll have
hours.
over it. Yeah, it's
Right.
going to be more than less. Is everyone okay with
First is completely
So we're looking
open.
at the 21st at
maybe 10 o'clock?
10 o'clock? Yes, that's good for me.
So let's do the second special meeting, 10 o'clock on the 21st as opposed to the 20th.
Interview, you got it.
Yeah, okay. Anything else? And this is, just to be clear, they're going to be able to go online, click like apply, and they're just going to be able to fill it all out on their computer and then just hit submit.
Correct.
They won't have to print anything out. They don't have to come in and see you.
No.
And then council and staff will be advised when people do apply.
Yes.
We'll get notified through our email.
Yep, we'll send you emails to a link with all of the applications.
Great. Anything else for Ms. Fernandez?
Fatima, have you had a lot of calls on this?
No, just, I believe, one person.
So the application will be posted today.
If you adopt this process, I'll go back and change the dates for the interview so that everybody's aware when the interview is, and we will start advertising today.
Great. I'll take a motion. Please.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve the final timing and procedure for filling the council vacancy due to the resignation of Roger Kissinger, as followed by the schedule set forth by electronic vote.
Can I have a second?
I apologize, we'll have to do this by voice
I'll
vote.
second.
All right.
Councilmember Kinzinger?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickinson?
Yes.
Councilmember Hepperly?
Yes.
Councilmember Schumacher?
Yes?
Councilmember Packard?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Hunt?
Yes.
Mayor Palgudo?
Yes.
That passes, Mayor.
Thank you, ma'am. And item 3, I'll entertain a motion for the last time.
Mr. Mayor, I would like to make the motion to adjourn this meeting today. This will be my last official duty on this council, but thank you again.
Can I have a second?
I'll second.
Second. Oh, sorry.
Clerk, please call the vote.
That passes me.
Thank you, ma'am. Thanks for coming out.